Paragraph type uses boundaries that you draw in to control the flow of the text, kind of like a text frame in Adobe InDesign. If I grab the horizontal type tool, I can move over, and instead of one quick click, I can click and drag to say the text that I'd like to put in here needs to flow into this area. That way I can do hyphenation and wrapping text instead of having it go off the image area. Now you'll see I have a huge cursor. It picked up the settings I used last time. So I'm going to start by making this 14 points. And it is a good idea before you even start working to change from the Essentials workspace to the Typography workspace. But since I'm already in text edit mode, I'll have to wait till I get some type in there to change my workspace. I'm going to launch Text Edit or WordPad or Notepad, any text editor on your computer system, and you should have the chicken casserole text in your class files, in your assets. I will copy that and click back on Photoshop and choose Edit, Paste. The text is white on white because the last text that I created was white. So I'm going to do Select All, Control A or Command A, and there's many different ways to change the type color. The first and easiest for me is to click this rectangle that says Set the Text Color, and I'll simply choose a dark black and click OK. Now I'm going to zoom in with Command plus or Control plus, and at this point I'll go to my Move tool. That way I can switch my workspace to typography. So here in Essentials, I'll select Typography, and it gives me the all-important character and paragraph panels. In this video, I'm focusing on paragraph, so I will go back to my T tool and make sure that when I get in the text box, I see only the I-beam. I don't see the tiny black arrow with the dotted border. This way I know I'm inside my current text area and I don't inadvertently build a new text block. And I'm going to triple click to highlight today's recommendation. I'll go back to Character, and I'm going to make this Myriad Pro bold. To the right, it's a little cut off on my screen. You will actually see the style of the font in the list. I'll increase my size to 24 points, and here's where paragraph is very handy. I'm a huge fan of the female author Robin Williams, and she writes some books like Your Mac is Not a Typewriter, Your PC is Not a Typewriter, and The Non-Designer's Design Book. One of her golden rules is never press return twice in a row, because that's why computers have space after. In the paragraph panel, I have options for indenting. I also can center or right align, or even do block style. I'll select all in a moment to show you that, but I'll go back to left. And these last two are not often used by people who come from the Microsoft or Word world, where you're just doing word processing. Even though Word does have these features, I can do space before a paragraph or space after a paragraph. And by using space after a paragraph, like 8 points, you could see it puts a mathematic amount of white space after today's recommendation. I could even hit my up arrow key to nudge this to preset values, or type 10 if I know I want a bigger value, and return or enter will say I'm all done with that setting. This is key if you do column text, because now that we can do paragraph and character styles in PhotoshopCS6, we can also do multiple columns, and if you press return or enter twice in a row for blank lines, you might accidentally get a blank line at the beginning of a page or column. If you use space after, no physical blank line exists, so it makes editing far easier. So let's format the other lines. I will triple click on Chicken Casserole. I will go to Character and choose Myriad Pro, I think bold condensed for this one. Size 18, and I'm going to set up a different character color. I'll click on the color rectangle here, another spot to set the text color. I could use here, And yet a third way, I could click on the foreground color square. And I want to make this a true gray, so I will just type a value like 75% for black. I could have done that in any one of these three areas. I added 4 points of space after to separate this from the next paragraph. And the beauty is, later I could use all of these settings in a paragraph style, new to PhotoshopCS6. Finally, I'll highlight, and I could double-click for the word, triple-click for the line, and 4 clicks is a paragraph. So I'll highlight this with 4 clicks, come back to Character, choose Myriad Pro, Italic, size is 14, and kerning I always like to optical. Since I forgot to set it earlier, I'll do a select all, Control A or Command A, and make everything optically kerned so that the letter spacing is much more readable. Now, with each of these, I'm happy with the formatted text. Finally, I'll do a select all again, go to Paragraph, and the last alignment options are Justify, which you really cannot see in this example because there's only 2 lines of type and the last line is a single line. What I'm going to do is highlight this paragraph of text and hit Command C to copy and a space and Command V to paste, or Control V on Windows to paste, Control C on Windows to copy. 4 clicks highlights the paragraph, and now you could see what Justify does. Justify is block style. So I can choose Justify with last line left, Justify with last line centered, and Justify with last line right. Or Force Justify all lines, which gives this displeasing spread and poor word spacing between the letters. Very rare instances do you need that. Maybe to spread a headline across the page, but I really avoid it. I prefer left align, and what I'm going to do is just hit Command V or Control V to paste. That way I have my original text back. So this has been your tour of some of the settings in the paragraph panel. We've learned to use space after to push away headings from other areas, or one paragraph away from the other. You finally have your standard left indent, right indent, and first line indent here as well. And if you don't want your text to hyphenate, if you have that occurring, you could simply check or uncheck hyphenate in the paragraph panel. I hope you've enjoyed this tour, and if you aren't using space after, get out there and try it in any application you use, even in Microsoft Word, but more importantly, I use it often in Photoshop, Illustrator, and InDesign. Have fun!